Hey there guys, Jaywalker here, and I'm in the new Honda CR-V. This right here is the base model gasoline variant. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. The Honda CR-V 2.0S is the base model in the CR-V lineup. But looking at it, at least on the outside, you can barely tell. It looks almost identical to the top-of-the-line SX trim. Also, even though it's the base model, it is better equipped than the more expensive V variant. We'll talk about the differences later. For now, let's take a look at the exterior of the CR-V. The CR-V is one of the more macho-looking crossovers in the segment. It has bulges in all the right places, and it looks particularly sinister when you see it from the front. It was already a pretty handsome-looking crossover, but Honda added a few tweaks to make it look even better. One of the things that I didn't like so much about the pre-facelift CR-V was the large slab of chrome at the front. It's like you have a mirror at the front to blind oncoming cars with. On the facelifted CR-V, Honda kept the chrome to a minimum. Instead of the large slab of chrome at the front, you get chrome in thin strips. You have one chrome strip connecting the two headlights and one on the bumper. The center part of the grille is now black. I think it's a more tasteful look, and you're less likely to blind oncoming drivers. The 2.0S gets LED headlights with daytime running lights. One difference between the top-of-the-line SX and the base model are these fog lights. The ones on the SX are rectangular LEDs, while these ones are circular halogens. The new CR-V gets a new wheel design. Both the top-of-the-line and this base trim get 18-inch wheels. The V variant gets smaller 17s. At the back, the new CR-V gets smoke taillights and a new bumper garnish. Unlike the diesel variants of the CR-V, this base model gas variant doesn't come with third row seats. But you do get more cargo space here compared to the diesel variants. The third row seats take up space even when folded. The 2.0S has 1,053 liters of space. The diesel variants have 967 liters of space with the third row seats folded down. The changes on the interior are very subtle. I don't see any changes actually. Now this may be the base model, but it looks pretty premium. You have a lot of soft touch materials on the dashboard. That's soft touch, soft touch, soft touch. You get this aluminum accent here, which feels like real aluminum. Unlike the diesel CR-Vs, you get a proper shifter. You also get a reverse camera, and you have three angles here. Standard view, you have wide angle, and you have a top-down view, which is useful if you have to park really close to the vehicle behind you. You still get an electronic parking brake with auto hold. You get a leather-wrapped steering wheel. You also get cruise control, but this is not adaptive like on the top-of-the-line model. This right here are your controls for your infotainment screen. So over here you have leather. You get leather seats with pretty good bolt strength. Both front seats are manually adjustable. Over here you have one USB port, another USB port. You have storage here for your phone. On the top of the line model you get a wireless charger here. You got two cup holders and you got storage here. Yeah, so you got an you got a digital screen, you got a digital cluster. Yeah. And you also get paddle shifters. So later we'll take this on a test drive. But for now, let's check out the back seat. Okay, so here at the back seat, I have plenty of legroom. Headroom is, I have about, I'm guessing that's 3 inches of headroom. I got 2 air vents here and 2 USB ports. And you also get a center armrest here with 2 cup holders. Now, unlike the diesel variants, you don't get third row seats on this variant, but you get plenty of luggage space. While this is technically the base model, it is a bit better equipped than the more expensive CR-V 2.0V. This base model S variant gets bigger 18-inch wheels. It gets cruise control, LED headlights, a lane watch camera. It gets navigation and a push start button. So in terms of appointments, the V feels more like a base variant, but it does come with a diesel engine, so it's priced higher. While this 2.0S doesn't really get a lot of new features, the higher end variants of the CR-V get a lot more tech. The top of the line SX gets wireless phone charging. The most significant improvement here is the addition of Honda Sensing, which you can now get on the 1.6S diesel and the top of the line 1.6 SX. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically autopilot for your car. It has adaptive cruise control, which automatically adjusts your speed depending on the speed of traffic ahead of you. It will apply the brakes and throttle automatically. It has lane departure warning, which gives you an alarm if you veer off your lane. If you're a Honda guy, this engine might look familiar to you. This is the R engine. It is similar to the engine that you find on the 1.8 Civic FD, but that one is the R18. This one is the R20. It's a 2-liter, 4-cylinder naturally aspirated gasoline engine. It produces 154 horsepower at 6,500 RPM and 189 Newton meters of torque at 4,300 RPM. The engine is coupled to a CVT, and the 2.0S has a front-wheel drive powertrain. The first thing that you notice here, if you're coming from the diesel variants, is that it's a lot more quiet. You don't hear diesel clatter. Compared to the diesel variant, there's a lot less torque, but you get more horsepower. You'll feel the difference at lower RPMs, especially when coming from a complete stop. But once you reach the higher RPMs, that's when you'll notice the horsepower advantage of the gas variant. Also, the gas variant sounds a lot more pleasant when you're revving it. The diesel variant sounds like a truck. The CR-V comes with a CVT, and you also get paddle shifters. CVTs technically don't have gears, but what the paddle shifters do is they allow you to select the appropriate gear ratio, so you're at the right RPM. That's helpful if you want to accelerate. You can downshift, so you can tell the engine to use a higher RPM without having to step on the throttle. If you're going downhill and you want to use engine braking, the paddle shifters will also help with that. Overall, the ride quality is pretty good. The suspension is quite soft. It does tend to lean in the corners, but this is no sports car, so I guess that's okay. One useful feature is Honda's lane watch, which basically shows you your blind spot when you activate the right turn signal. So basically, you don't have to look at the right side mirror when changing lanes. When you get used to it, I think it's actually safer because you don't have to turn your head so much. And also, if you have a passenger who's into the habit of blocking your view of the right side mirror, this feature should be quite helpful. As for fuel efficiency, I didn't get to test drive it long enough to test the fuel efficiency, but the figures online are 7.5 kpl in heavy traffic, 13.8 kpl at moderate traffic. Now, those figures aren't bad, but they are lower compared to the diesel CR-V, which returns 10.3 kpl in city traffic, 18.8 kpl in moderate traffic, and 24 kpl on the highway. At 1.67 million pesos, Honda has pretty tough competition. You have more affordable options now from Chinese brands. But compared to other Japanese brands which offer plasticky interiors and basic features at this price, the CR-V 2.0S holds its own in terms of interior quality and features. The interior looks just as premium as other crossovers like the Geely Coolray and the Ford Territory. If you're still not willing to jump into the Chinese crossover bandwagon, and you want something from an established Japanese brand, then the Honda CR-V 2.0S might be a good option. Thanks to Honda Manila for the opportunity to feature the Honda CR-V 2.0S. If you are interested in the Honda CR-V 2.0S, their contact details are in the description below.